At the beginning of the year, everyone expected the Denver Nuggets to make it to the NBA Finals. With the best player in the world winning his third MVP award and a strong team including Murray, Porter Jr., and Gordon, they seemed unstoppable at one point. The reigning NBA champions were supposed to dominate the Western Conference after finishing the regular season with a 57-25 record, earning the second seed. But then came the surprising 98-90 loss in Game 7 to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second round. What went wrong? How did Jokic and Murray lose to Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns after being one of the best duos in the West? Let's dive into why the Nuggets fell apart against the Timberwolves. Denver really struggled with depth this season, which was a concern right from the start after losing Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. While Jokic and Murray get most of the attention, it's often the role players who make a big difference in the playoffs. And it showed. Brown and Green were crucial last year, and their impact went beyond just stats since their presence alone was so important on both ends, especially defense. Brown averaged 12.0 points per game in last year's playoffs and had standout moments, like his 21-point performance in Game 4 of the Finals. He was also a top-notch defender who made key plays when needed, which is huge for resting your stars. Jeff Green, on the other hand, averaged only 4.1 points per game in the playoffs, but his elite defense, veteran leadership, and reliable 17.2 minutes per game in the postseason were invaluable. This year, the Nuggets lacked players of Brown and Green's caliber. Only Christian Braun, Reggie Jackson, and Justin Holiday played over 10 minutes per game in the playoffs, and none of them averaged near 10 points per game. Braun led the bench with just 5.1 points per game. That wasn't enough, especially since the Timberwolves had Sixth Man of the Year Naz Reid, whose 11-point performance in Game 7 turned the game in the fourth quarter. Without reliable backups, the Nuggets overworked their starters, leaving them visibly exhausted. For the first time since becoming MVP, Nikola Jokic made unusual mistakes, with 7 turnovers in Game 1 and 4 in Game 2's blowout loss. He also struggled against the Timberwolves' tough defense early in the series. Despite eventually dominating the stats, he had to shoulder a huge load, playing 47 minutes in Game 7, with just 1 minute of rest because coach Mike Malone lacked a solid backup center. Jamal Murray played 43 minutes in Game 7 and faced challenges throughout the series. He scored only 8 points in Game 2 and narrowly avoided suspension for throwing a heat pack on the court. His 10-point performance in Game 6 showed how tired he was from dealing with Minnesota's top defenders. Aaron Gordon played over 40 minutes twice in the series and was crucial on defense both inside and on the perimeter. He had to log heavy minutes all year due to Denver's lack of depth behind him. The combination of depth issues and Malone's over-reliance on his starters left the Nuggets too drained to keep up with the NBA's best defense, both offensively and defensively. Another big reason is that Anthony Edwards is the real deal. Ant has emerged as one of the NBA's top players, and his rise has been quicker than expected. His perimeter scoring and natural leadership are refreshing in a league where players often make excuses and avoid aggression. Edwards brings an old-school mentality, playing with raw passion and a fierce desire to win, even if it means conflict with other superstars. In the series against the Nuggets, the guy averaged 27.7 points per game, shooting 50.0% from the field. He had standout performances, scoring 43 points in Game 1 and 44 points in Game 4. However, his true impact went beyond the numbers. In Game 7, despite scoring only 16 points on 6/24 shooting, his defense on Jamal Murray in the fourth quarter and his playmaking under pressure were crucial for Minnesota. Edwards' contributions can't be fully captured by stats alone. He was the driving force behind the Timberwolves' run to the Western Conference Finals, displaying a killer attitude and setting the tone early when Minnesota took a 2-0 lead in the series. Competing against stars like Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray is no easy task, but Edwards proved he's the real deal. On top of everything, Denver hasn't faced defense like the one Wolves pressed them with. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the NBA's best defensive team, and they showed it with full capacity. They finished first in the regular season in opponent points per game, 106.5, and had a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year on their side. In Games 1 and 2, the Timberwolves overwhelmed the Nuggets with active hands and quick switches, jumping to a 2-0 series lead. Although their defense faltered a bit, they regained form in Games 6 and 7. In Game 6, the Nuggets were held to just 70 points, shooting a mere 30.2% from the field and 19.4% from three-point range. These numbers are almost unheard of in today's NBA, where defense at this level is rare. In Game 7, the Nuggets managed only 90 points and shot 24.2% from three, highlighting the Timberwolves' excellent perimeter switching. They doubled Jokic at the right times and consistently contested shots. Rudy Gobert, often criticized, delivered a crucial performance in Game 7. While he couldn't stop Jokic from grabbing 19 rebounds, Gobert made timely blocks, and his size was a significant factor in the paint. Karl Anthony Towns also excelled defensively, using his body to battle Jokic and attacking the rim on offense. Gobert and Towns led the defensive effort, with help from Edwards, McDaniels, and Alexander Walker on the perimeter. At the end of the day, Minnesota built a team to stop Jokic, and that's exactly what they did. If Jamal Murray was more consistent, then the outcome could have been different, but that's another conversation in itself. Murray shined in Game 7, scoring 35 points and leading the team early on. However, his inconsistency is why he hasn't made an all-star team yet. In Game 1, he scored 17 points on 6-14 shooting, but then dropped to just 8 points on 3-18 shooting in Game 2. The shaky start gave Minnesota confidence, making it tough for the Nuggets throughout the series. The Nuggets' success hinges on Murray's performance, assuming Jokic will consistently deliver as a triple-double machine. Denver depends on Murray to make shots and play well. When he struggles, so does the team. His 10-point showing in Game 6 was another instance of his inconsistency, and the Nuggets lost every game where he played poorly. While Murray is a key part of Denver's roster, he needs to stay consistent to be a reliable partner for Jokic, as his poor performances often spell trouble for the Nuggets. So, after all of this has been said, what adjustments should Nuggets make for the future? As we've seen in the past, the key to beating Nikola Jokic before the 2024 postseason was to outplay his teammates. When the Nuggets lost to the Portland Trail Blazers in 2019, they actually won the minutes Jokic was on the floor, even during their celebrated 3-1 comeback against the Clippers a year later. The series might not have gone to 7 games if the Nuggets had managed to hold on during Jokic's rest periods. In the 22-21 playoffs, Jokic played without Jamal Murray, and in 22, he was missing both Murray and Michael Porter Jr. For the past several years, the strategy against the Nuggets was straightforward. If Jokic and his team were at full strength, he would dominate, and you could only hope to outscore his teammates when he rested. If his teammates were injured, you had a chance. That's what makes Denver's second-round loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves so shocking. There are no excuses here. Minnesota didn't just win when Jokic rested. Jamal Murray was playing hurt, but he was still on the court, and every Nugget in the rotation was available for all 7 games. Jokic had his teammates, but it didn't matter. The Timberwolves didn't just beat the Nuggets. They beat the best version of the Nuggets. Denver's starting lineup of Jokic, Murray, Porter, Aaron Gordon, and KCP has been nearly flawless since it was put together. Over the past 2 regular seasons, they've outscored opponents by a whopping 483 points. They also dominated their minutes in last year's playoff series against the Suns, Lakers, and Heat, winning by a total of 69 points. Even in this year's first-round series against the Lakers, they outscored LA by 27 points while on the court. The only hiccup? Last year's first-round series against the Timberwolves, where Denver's starters lost their minutes by just 1 point. This time, they were outscored by a total of 50 points in the first 6 games. This poses a big problem for the Nuggets. There's no easy fix. They can't just hope to be healthier next year like the Knicks, nor do they have an obvious weakness that can be easily patched like the Thunder's rebounding issues. Even if they did have a problem, and they lack the resources to address it, they owe first-round picks to other teams in 2025, 2027, and 2029. They can still trade their 2031 pick and their 2024 pick after draft night, but those aren't exactly valuable assets, especially considering their limited salary cap space. Apart from their starting 5, their highest-paid player for next season is Zeke Naji at just under $9 million, which isn't enough to land a game-changer. Plus, the Nuggets are already projected to exceed next season's salary cap limit, making it even harder to make any significant upgrades. Chances are, the Nuggets will bring back a similar roster next season, but even at their best, they were outplayed by a Minnesota team that they might face again at a certain point in next postseason. If there is a solution for them to overcome and improve, it will definitely have to come from within. That's it for today, guys. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to tell us what you think of Denver's playoffs run this year, and how far do you think the Wolves will go. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up with this year's playoffs. Peace out.